let's haul some books. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse and welcome to a book haul. So it has been a minute since I have done one of these because if you have been following along, you know I have been actively unhauling books. But I maybe treated myself to a couple. I'm still being selective and was very generously gifted a whole big bunch. So this is several months worth of books. There's a lot to talk about, so let's dive right into today's book haul. These are going to be in no particular order other than the order in which they are stacked. First book I have is The Fairweather Friend by Jessie Garcia. This was gifted to me from St. Martin's, double checking, and this is coming out in January. So she wrote The Business Trip, which I read earlier this year and I absolutely loved. So like fast-paced, thrillery, twisty, like read it in one sitting, kind of a bingeable read. And this one is It's Always Sunny in Detroit for Faith Richards. The popular TV meteorologist, endearingly referred to as the Fairweather Friend by her viewers, has the world by the tail. But one night, Faith leaves work on a dinner break and never returns. Her body is found the next morning. The town is reeling, suspects emerge, and long-buried secrets are uncovered. While her allies rally, her list of adversaries also grows. A producer, a fellow anchor, an old frenemy, an obsessed fan. The deeper the investigation goes, the more the storm builds, dragging everyone into the eye of their own unraveling. All these weather metaphors in this one. Very excited for this one. Definitely going to read it before it comes out. And like I said, I loved The Business Trip, so if you guys haven't read that one, give it a go. But Fairweather Friend. Let me try and do this at the beginning because I always think about this halfway through. All of the pub dates will be listed down below of what I know on these books. A lot of these are early. No. Some of these are arcs. Some of them are not. Keep going, Audrey. The next book is also from St. Martin's. This is Good Intentions by Marissa Waltz. And this one comes out in February. We have fans of psychological suspense will be obsessed. That's me. Katie has it all. A thriving luxury event planning business, a packed social calendar, and the man she's loved since she was 17. And most importantly, she has Dana, her identical twin, her mirror, her closest bond, until the day she doesn't. When Katie gets the call that Dana has been in a serious accident and arrives moments too late to say goodbye, her world shatters. But it's not just the loss that consumes her. It's also Morgan, a grieving mother Katie notices in the hospital waiting room the day her sister dies. A stranger, and yet Katie feels a pull she can't ignore. Convincing herself that the only way to heal is to help this woman recover from her own devastating tragedy. Or, ... Is it possible that Katie wants something more from Morgan? So it says slyly twisted and deeply provocative, unspooling the dangerous line between empathy and fixation, where even the best intentions can grow into obsession. I'm very intrigued by this one. Also love the cover. I don't think it's crazy for me to say 2026 is looking pretty amazing. There's so many good books coming out. Stay tuned for my Auto Buy 2026 video. Next up, I have a YA thriller from Wednesday Books, and this is The Fall of Iris Henley by Jennifer Graham. So like pom-poms on the cover. I feel like it's good that I wore black today. So far, all of these black and red. Red nail polish, black shirt. I'm matching like half the book so far. All it takes to ruin someone's life is the stroke of a key. Just ask Iris Henley. Her life is destroyed when someone posts an anonymous message on her high school subreddit. Quote, Iris Henley is a killer. I've been too scared to come forward until now, but I saw her murder Rocky and Lynette last summer. Thank God the internet didn't exist when I was in high school. Just like that, Iris loses everything. Her reputation, her friends, her hope of getting into college on scholarship. And once the police start to investigate, she is certain she will lose her freedom too. After all, she's the perfect suspect. Rocky was her boyfriend and Lynette was her ex-best friend and the girl he was cheating on her with. I mean, can we say they deserved it? But Iris didn't do it. And now it's up to her to clear her name by finding out who did before it's too late. This is also coming out in February. And the author of this book is the co-author of the Veronica Mars duology. So, I mean, I was in even before I knew that, but I'm like doubly in. I recently finally watched The Woman in the Window, or no, The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window, like the the spoof one that Kristen Bell did a couple years ago. I don't know. I'm finally catching up on Netflix. I'm 1,000 years late, but have been having a bit of like a Kristen Bell, Veronica Mars itch. I haven't watched the other one with Adam Brody yet, but I will. Excited for this. What I'm watching on TV has nothing to do with anything other than I can't stop talking about it. Okay, the next book is from Castle Point Books, and this is The People Pleaser's Recovery Journal by Ellie Summers. Hi, my name is Audrey and I'm a people pleaser, and I would love to recover from it. I love a little bit of a self-help book that has some good like big quotes and like an activity book. Very excited for this. So it says, find the courage to put yourself first. You're the main character in your story. Did anybody see my main character energy video about books with the name Audrey in it? The line in this maybe inspired that video, by which I mean totally did. Okay, you're the main character in your story. It's time to live like it. No more masking, tiptoeing, apologizing, or appeasing. With empowering quotes, colorful pages, and encouraging prompts that read like conversations with a friend, the People Pleaser's Recovery Journal will help you find your voice and learn how to use it. I feel like people who are not people pleasers are probably like, what is this even all about? But if you have lived your life, much like I have, maybe this is for you guys also. So building the confidence to stand up for yourself, prioritizing your needs, setting healthy boundaries, being honest with yourself, saying no without guilt and yes without resentment. Break free from your people-pleasing habits and discover the freedom you've been missing. I do wonder what it's like. So there's sections like empowerment, self-care, honesty, some of it is repeated, boundaries, empowerment, so the things I mentioned on the back. Anyway, this looks like a fun one. I have so many grand plans for 2026. The unhauling of the books is like just the beginning of the change. Although you're supposed to like do change in quiet and not tell anybody about it, but whoops, we're good. Okay, then I have a finished copy of a book. This is also from St. Martin's. This is the October Film Haunt by Michael Wehunt. So I did talk about this in the new release video, and then they very generously sent it to me. And here we are. Okay, so this is kind of like a horror movie inspired. I like this inside cover. It looks like a VHS tape. I'm always interested in like all the things going on. Okay. 10 years ago, Jory Strode was the rising star of the October Film Haunt, a trio of horror enthusiasts who camped out at the filming locations of their favorite scary movies. I kind of love this as an idea. They share their love of horror through their popular blog. But after a night in the graveyard from Proof of Demons, perhaps the most chilling cult film ever made, directed by the enigmatic Helene Enriquez, everything unraveled. Now Jory has built an isolated life with her young son in Vermont. In the devastating wake of her viral truth-stretching Proof of Dreams blog entry, hysteria, internet backlash, and the death of a young woman, Jory has put it all, along with her intense love for the horror genre, behind her. But we know this is a thriller, so we know it's coming back. So until... a videotape arrives in the mail. Jory fears someone might be filming her, and the Rickies, Enriquez obsessives who would do anything for the reclusive director, begin to cross lines in disturbing ways. It seems Helene Enriquez is making a new kind of sequel, and Jory is her final girl. Dangers grow more unexpected and strange. Jory must search for answers. Otherwise, ain't gonna end well for her. So this looks deliciously creepy. Definitely gonna lean horror because it's about horror movies, and I was intrigued when I heard about it, and now I have a copy of it, which makes me very excited. All right, now I have the first book that I purchased for myself. This is Secrets of the Blue Hand Girls by Rowana Miller. So I also talked about this when it came out. I am currently reading this one, and did this like really pull me in? Honestly, I talked about this in probably multiple videos at this point. If there's painted edges and if a book is beautiful, I'm instantly like, yes, I want it. Thank you. It's upside down. So I went and got this. And this got like Upper East Side. I was gonna say boarding school. It's Upper East Side prep school vibes. I also maybe completely started to rewatch season 1 of Gossip Girl. So I have been in a kind of YA rich kids behaving badly in New York kind of a mode. I did read The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand and Shelby Cunningham, her daughter, which was kind of also putting me in that like boarding school, rich kids behaving badly. But here we are in Manhattan. So the back of this says, Dear Kay, we find you intriguing. The first letter to show up in her locker has instructions. Dye your hand blue. Kay knows she shouldn't. She doesn't have time for secret societies or any kind of social life. Kay is here on scholarship, so we have our outsider, and her job is to work hard, get into Northwestern, and ignore all the parties and all the rich kids. She's got a job to do, people. But she can't ignore the letter or the intrigue, or that beautiful girl in calculus, Zola Wolf. I'm trying to be dramatic. So Zola is suddenly noticing her. Beautiful girl in calculus. So Kay stains her palms with ink to join the mysterious Blue Hand girls, sharing an unspoken thrill with the classmates whose dyed hands she glimpses in the hallway. What do they all have in common? Like, why them? Why did they pick them? What is it all about? What is the secret society all about? And I'm like, is anything on the back more than I think you should know at this point? Anonymous letters demand the initiates reveal their own secrets, truths that bond them to the society and all too close to one another. And then Kay starts to wonder what is more dangerous, the powerful people who run her school or the Blue Hand girls themselves. So I will say this is not quite what I expected. I feel like you definitely, if you read a lot of like YA prep school, boarding school books, I had a certain expectation and this is sort of subverting it, which is fun. I'm very intrigued. I'm probably like just at the halfway point, maybe just over it. And I don't know where it's going, but there is some mystery to this. There's a lot of interesting characters. We have some past and present mysteries going on. So stay tuned. I will review it after I finish it. The next book I have is from Berkeley. This is Made You Look by Tanya Grant. It says it's Kill or Be Canceled. This one just came out as of the time me filming it. There's usually a delay in when you guys are going to see it, but you can get it if you want. So this is an isolated thriller, influencers, weather, all the things that I love. This is, I don't want to say it because as soon as I say it, it's going to jinx it. I was going to say this is kind of like near the top of my TBR. Anyway, stay tuned. So a group of influencers are trapped with no internet and no way out. In this one we have Sydney, and she is the ultimate it girl. You want her effortless style, charisma, and hair. You want to be her. You want to be with her. But the trouble with a star is that everyone else looks dull in comparison. So despite Caitlin's social media cunning, it's impossible for her to step out from Sydney's shadow. Even Lucy, Sydney's best friend since before her fame, can't escape her role as full-time photographer for the influencer. When the women are invited to post content for a retreat in the Catskills alongside Sydney's team, the weekend feels like a chance at a fresh start, but then we get the bad snowstorm. And then we lose the internet. And then a killer strikes. So all the bad things start to happen all at the same time, which of course is what makes this absolutely my kind of a book. And we're all just going to have to read it to find out what is going to happen. But the cover is gorgeous. Like the snow effect of this, I'm obsessed. I am obsessed. And I really can't wait to read it. Olivia Worley, who I love, says a delicious blend of influencer drama, gasp-worthy twists, and an eerie, isolated setting. I mean, I will read a snowy, isolated book all year round, but since we are really closing in on winter, for better or for worse, this is a great seasonal read. And speaking of Olivia Worley, I swear I did not plan this. We have Final Cut, which was sent to me. This also came from Wednesday Books, and this is a YA thriller. It says this film is killer. So Olivia has written The Debutantes, which I read last year. I have Happy and You Know It. No, So Happy Together, which is her adult debut. I saw her at Thriller Fest. I've repeated a lot of these things. And then she also wrote, her first book was called People to Follow, which was an influencer book. So makes sense that she blurbed that one. But here we are, kind of more October film haunt, kind of Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. And we have Recent High School Graduate. So I guess it's like new adult, but we don't really do new adult anymore. Recent high school graduate Hazel Lejeune gets the lead role. Why am I talking like this? Recent high school graduate Hazel Lejeune gets the lead role in a slasher film. It feels like a dream come true. This is her chance to break into the industry, build her reel, and prove to her mom that the gap year she's taking, she can turn it into a career. So what if the movie is set in the nothing town of Pine Springs, Louisiana? So what if Pine Springs, Louisiana also happens to be the same place where her father, known as the Pine Springs Slasher, was convicted of a series of murders 15 years ago? So maybe a darker version of A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham, a YA horror movie version of A Flicker in the Dark. It says, but when Hayes arrives on set, she gets much more than she bargained for. The shoot is plagued by suspicious accidents. Mentions of her dad dot the entire script. And then a gruesome murder shocks everyone to the core. Now it's clear there's a real killer on set. One who's determined to finish the film at all costs. But is this merely a copycat, or is the wrong slasher behind bars? As the body count rises, and reality and fiction blur together, Hayes must unmask the killer before she becomes a real-life final girl, or the killer flips the script and makes her his next victim. So I feel like this is going to be bingey. This also reminds me of Daniel Valentine, who wrote that great slasher, the name of which I'm forgetting of. I will pop it up over here. It was very inspired by Scream. It had a corn maze in it. I want to say How I Killed You, but that's not it. Anyway, How to Survive Your Own Murder. Wait long enough, Audrey will figure it out. But this one sounds really good. Again, really enjoy her writing. And I love the premise of this. So Haven't Killed in Years by Amy K. Green also has a whoops, my dad was a serial killer. We'll talk about it when we get to it. All right, next I have Darkening Song by Delphine Seddon. And this is from Saturday Books. This comes out in March. Here's the cover of it. And it says, All Fame Cost Her Was Everything. This cover also reminds me of, why am I blanking on the name of the book? It was like a white and silver cover. The eye, I'll put it over here. I'm blanking on it. It was another like influencer, dark and messed up, fabulous book. Okay, in this one we have Eva. Eva is 18. She is interning at a record label when she discovers 16-year-old Alora online. Captivated by her voice, Eva impulsively offers to be her manager, despite knowing nothing about artist management. When Alora skyrockets to superstardom, they're both flung into the whirling vortex of fame, the party's paparazzi and power, and become found family to each other. But Eva's ambition blinds her to signs that Alora is in trouble, and as dark truths from Alora's past surface, their worlds unravel. This is the debut, and it says a fiercely feminist debut about friendship and betrayal. It's a love story and a story about growing up in an industry that sometimes disregards the needs of young women. But more than anything, it's about redemption and dreams coming true in ways we least expect. I do love a rock and roll book. Future Saints by Ashley Winstead is coming out in January. You guys know I love Daisy Jones. And, you know, this one looks really good. Oh, and it says in the inside cover it's going to be adapted into a major television series. Words, Audrey. This is what happens when we film at the end of the day. Excited. Okay. Let's bounce back to a book that I got myself. So I did have a gift card and I did use it wisely, I would say. This is The 640 to Montreal by Eva Jurczyk. I want to say it is. I should know because I watched the interview that she did with Ashley Winstead. This is like isolated on a train, so kind of a Murder on the Orient Express-ish vibe. Although I don't really know because I haven't read it yet. But I do believe she's got like an Agatha Christie inspiration to it. Also love this cover. Here we go. Agatha's husband. So there's definitely a little Agatha to it. I totally watched her interview with Ashley. Okay, no Wi-Fi, no distractions, no way out. Agatha's husband has bought her a business class ticket on the scenic 6-hour train from Toronto to Montreal as a gift. A one-day writing retreat so she can get some serious work done on her new book. A highly anticipated follow-up to Agatha's runaway bestseller debut novel. The business class car is the perfect place to be productive, with only a handful of other passengers, plenty of snacks and drinks, and beautiful views flying by outside the window. So Eva did talk about how she has done this. So you just like take the train there and back and you just sit on the train all day and write, which sounds very dreamy. I don't know. It just sounds really dreamy. If you've ever like been on a long train ride, I used to take Amtrak from Boston to New York all the time. I'm a big train person when possible. Had a chance to do some train travel when I was in Europe and just like, I can just see the dreamy effect of all of this. Okay, but it's not going to be dreamy for Agatha because it's a thriller. So we have Agatha, has other plans for her day out. Plans that are unexpectedly derailed when the train breaks down in the middle of the frigid Canadian woods and one of Agatha's fellow passengers dies quietly in his seat. Soon, a pleasant morning in transit turns into a fight for survival against an unknown and unseen enemy. Will Agatha or any of the passengers make it out alive? I mentioned in another video I filmed recently that I feel like I can tie most anything back to a Murder, She Wrote episode, and there was a suspicious death on a plane in Murder, She Wrote, where a passenger seemingly just died in his seat, and, you know, Jessica had to help solve the crime. So this just sounds fantastic. Okay, another arc I have, this is from Flatiron Books. This is called Dirty Metal, and this is by Alison Lamoth, and this comes out in February. So we are in New York City. We are in 1992. Meet Parker Snow, the most tenacious reporter for a tabloid paper that thrives on juicy gossip over hard-hitting news, the New York Street. She also has a big black mark on her record from her last street crime story and a habit of taking a few too many pills to erase the memory. I mean, I don't want to say like we love people who take pills, but like when it in books, we love people who take a few too many pills. All right. Since the fall of the USSR, a new crop of Russian criminals have been arriving in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. It's now Parker's job to cover them, but her old beat keeps calling to her, especially when she learns of a murdered woman whose case the cops want to ignore. Trying to run down two stories at once, a simmering mafia turf war, and a homicide that leads to two more with no clear link between them, Parker must also fight the pull of her pills and the arrogant men who get in her way at every turn. Despite it all, she's determined to find truth and redemption for herself, the victims, and a city in chaos, if her demons don't get to her first. I am intrigued. Julia Dahl, who wrote I Dream of Falling, blurbed this, and it says, gutsy, whip smart, and the perfect tour guide through pre-Giuliani New York City. I would very much like to dive back into the 90s New York City. Oh, it sounds fun. It sounds fun. This is like when we used to kind of roam around New York City a little bit recklessly. But I'm very curious. We weren't like wild or crazy or anything. I'll be honest, I was a suburban kid who occasionally went to the city. But still, when we did, it was a good time. Something else I fully expect to be a good time. This is another book that I bought for myself. This is Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. This was a matter of when, not if, I was going to pick this one up because I do own all her other books. Did I tell myself I was going to read For Your Own Good before I picked up another one of her books? I did. Have I read this yet? I haven't. You guys, just, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever, it's fine. This is her new book that came out this year. I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I grabbed it with a gift card and on a deal. Nobody cares. All right. Older, Wiser, Deadlier. A retired serial killer's quiet life is upended by an unexpected visitor. To protect her secret, there's only one option left. What's another murder? Great question. Great question. We have Lottie Jones. She thought her crimes were behind her. Decades earlier, she changed her identity and tucked herself away in a small town. Her most exciting nights are spent at weekly bingo games at the local church and gossiping with friends. Before and after. Anyone ever bingo? No. When investigative journalist Plum Dixon shows up on her doorstep asking questions about Lottie's past, and specifically her involvement with numerous unsolved cases, well, Lottie just can't have that. But getting away with murder is hard enough when you're young. And when Lottie receives another annoying knock on the door, she realizes this crime might just be the death of her. I've heard nothing but great things. I've heard it's very bingeable. I love her humor. I love her writing. I have been hooked on her ever since I moved it somewhere. My lovely wife. I relocated stuff during the book unhaul. But I still kept it. I have kept all of her books. Anyway, very excited for this one. It should be great. It should be great. Another book that was gifted to me. This is from Berkeley. This is The Bone Thief by Vanessa Lilly. If you guys have been here a minute, you know I love Vanessa. I think she's absolutely fantastic. So she wrote Blood Sisters. This is the sequel to Blood Sisters, but you can absolutely read this as a standalone. She is one of the co-authors, or one of the 3/4 authors, depending on which Widow's book you read, for the Widow series, and then she has 2 of her own psychological thrillers. I did all of her books in reverse order. This is her new one. I'm very excited. We are back with Sid Walker. I can't wait. I can't wait. This is getting so many great reviews. The blurb on this one is, when a native teenager vanishes from her small town, a place with dark ties to an elite historical society, archaeologist Sid Walker is called in to investigate. In the hours before dawn at a local summer camp, Bureau of Indian Affairs archaeologist Sid Walker receives an alarming call. Newly discovered skeletal remains have been stolen. Not only have bones gone missing, but a native teen girl has disappeared near the camp, and law enforcement dismisses her family's fears. As Sid investigates both crimes, she's drawn into a world of privileged campers and their wealthy parents, most of them part of the Founder Society, an exclusive club whose members trace their lineage to the first colonists and claim ancestral rights to the land, despite fierce objections from the local tribal community. And it's not the first time something or someone has gone missing from this camp. So the deeper Sid digs, the more she realizes these are not isolated incidents. Secrets are going to come out. Pattern of disappearances stretching back generations, all leading to the Founder Society's doorstep. I love it. But exposing the truth means confronting the town's most powerful families. Makes for great tension. And also a legacy of violence that refuses to stay buried. I am very excited for this. I know Vanessa does a ton of research. A lot of what she writes about is steeped in history. I was going to say real history in history. So Vanessa herself is an enrolled citizen of the Cherokee Nation, and she's originally from Oklahoma. So her first book, Sid lives in Rhode Island and goes back to Oklahoma too, and cut myself off. In this book, Sid stays in Rhode Island, which is where Vanessa lives now. So a lot of authenticity to locations, and I'm really excited for it. This is also one of my favorite covers of the year. So excited. Thank you to all the publishers. Another book that came from St. Martin's, this is The Hitchhikers by Chevy Stevens. This one is also already out, and it says Desperation is a Dark Road. This one reminds me a bit of Simone St. James' Murder Road. That's what it's called, right? Yes, Murder Road. She's down there. So similar but different. I don't think this one is ghosty like Simone is. I think this is just horror. Don't hitchhike, friends. The open road beckons. A chance for them to reconnect, but they make a fatal mistake. So this is set in the summer of 1976. Alice and Tom set out on the remote Canadian highways in their new RV, hoping to heal their broken hearts after a devastating tragedy. They plan the trip perfectly, every detail. Then they meet two young hitchhikers, down on their luck, and offer them a ride. But Simon and Jenny aren't who they seem. They've left a trail of blood, destruction, and madness behind them. Now Alice and Tom are trapped prisoners in a deadly game, with nowhere to turn. As the tension builds, the lines blur, and the questions become, in whose heart does evil truly lie? What secrets are Jenny and Simon hiding? And who will live to see another day? I've heard great things about this one too. I'm very intrigued. Gillian Flynn calls it utterly absorbing. Thanks, Gillian. And I think this is going to be really fun to read. So I think it's going to be dark. I think it's going to be messed up. And I think it's going to be probably kind of frightening. And we'll see what happens. But, don't pick up hitchhikers, friends, right? Then I have another book that I bought for myself, which has deckled edges, which I didn't even know when I bought it. So this maybe 100% wasn't on my radar. I don't even think I talked about it when it came out. And did I see a post? Did we learn nothing from Audrey being influenced by people, knowing absolutely nothing and buying books? I saw a post from Jordy from Jordy's Book Club saying that this book, I feel like he did like 5 books you have to read this year or whatever, and said this was like, if you were kind of obsessive about like the Murdoch trial and Listen to the Lie by Amy Tintera, which sort of like weaves together two things, like what like amazing comp, as I struggle to find comps for my own book. That comp doesn't work for my book, but I was like, oh, like Alec Murdoch plus Listen to the Lie? Fine. This is We're All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. I can hear you guys being like, Audrey, you unhauled a bunch of Karen Slaughter books. Yes, friends, I know I did. But that pairing, I couldn't resist. I read what it was about. Yes, the cover is ridiculously gorgeous as well. Okay. This is the first thrilling mystery in the new North Falls series from Karen Slaughter, a small town where everyone knows everyone, or so they think. Until the night of the fireworks, when 2 teenage girls vanish and the town ignites. For Officer Emmy Clifton, it's personal. She turned away when her best friend's daughter needed help, and now she must bring her home. But as Emmy combs through the puzzle the girls left behind, she realizes she never really knew them. Nobody did. Every teenage girl has secrets, but who would kill for them? And what else is the town hiding? So I think the Murdoch comp comes from like this small town where everybody knows everybody, and it's really intertwined, and a friend of mine, and even kind of a friend of mine from South Carolina was like, oh yeah, like when that trial was happening, like we knew those people. And I was like, that is nuts. Like knew some of the people who were testifying, the whole intertwined nature of the entire town. So I think that is where the Murdoch thing comes from. And then Listen to the Lie is like, I'm sure this mystery of what happened in the past. I don't know. Give me a female detective. Give me 2 missing girls. I am a little bit scared because I know Karen does not hold back, but I am going all in. And I'm going to read it. And I'm obsessed with the deckled edges. I know so many people hate them, but like, man, I love them. I love them. 25 years, 25 books, a lifetime of stories. It's the first time I've taken the cover off. Say anything on the back? No. Wow. Go Karen. I mean, she's got a cajillion books in here as I was looking at this. Just trying to get one, friends. Just trying to get one. Anyway, I'm excited for it, and Jordy made me do it. The next 2 books were very generously gifted to me from one of my subscribers. These are from Vicky. I was away for the weekend. I came home. There was a box out front, and I was like, I legit didn't order anything. What on earth is that? Screamed. Screamed, Vicky. Screamed. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. The first book she sent me is All the Other Mothers Hate Me by Sarah Harmon. This is another book that Jordy recommended that has been on my wish list. And again, I was trying to exert that like ounce of self-control. So thank you for exerting it for me, Vicky. I've heard so many great things about this one. I think it's just like great dark humor and just fabulous. So we have, and everyone's gonna be like, wait, what? There's a 10-year-old missing boy, but bear with me. Florence Grimes is a 31-year-old party girl who always takes the easy way out. Single, broke, and unfulfilled after the humiliating end to her girl band career, she has only one reason to get out of bed each day, her 10-year-old son, Dylan. But then Alfie Risby, her son's bully and the heir to a vast frozen food empire, mysteriously vanishes during a class trip, and Dylan becomes the prime suspect. Florence, for once, is faced with a task she can't quit. She's got to find Alfie and clear her son's name, or risk losing Dylan forever. The only problem is Florence has no useful skills, let alone investigative ones, and all the other school moms hate her. Oh, and Florence has a reason to suspect Dylan might not be as innocent as she'd like to believe. So it says, hilarious and twisted, propulsive and furious. All the Other Mothers Hate Me is the must-read book of the year. So I've heard that from a whole bunch of people. I've seen a ton of reviews online. And like Clemence Michelin says, darkly funny. Jessica Knoll blurbs it on the front, says a biting, twisty, utter delight of a thriller. I want to say it is set in New York City. Don't totally quote me on that, because it's set in London. The heading of the first chapter. So good thing you didn't quote me. I don't know why in my head I'm picturing them, and this could be the Gossip Girl effect, but I'm like picturing them on a field trip to the Metropolitan. And that is probably not right. So she is an American living in London. I still think the book is set in London. And stay tuned. So book number 1 that Vicky sent me. I'm making a very dangerous pile over there, by the way. And then the second book is The Vanishing Place by Zoe Rankin. I was obsessing about this when it first came out as well. This feels like another great, like, not like holiday season, but like winter hunker down, isolated kind of a thriller. It says you can't escape, but you can vanish. And I love the house with the light. Oh, such a good cover. Is there any kind of cool messaging on it? No, it's okay. It's all right. Leave it for Karen. Leave it for Karen. Okay. A child who ran from the forest, a woman who must return to it. A young girl stumbles out of a bush into a tiny New Zealand town, her clothes smeared with dirt and blood, unable or unwilling to speak. No one's ever seen her before, but old-timers insist she looks just like a girl who disappeared 20 years earlier. Effie has built a life for herself in Scotland, oceans and miles away from the secrets of her past, from a childhood spent in the wilds of New Zealand, hidden away with her family. As a child, she thought that it was her parents' love of the natural world that took them off-grid and into the bush. But as she grew, she began to see how unsafe and unwise their life was. She finally escaped, vowing to never look back. Now she lives on the Isle of Skye, as far from that dark forest as she can get. But the appearance of the strange little girl leads police to a murder scene, and to help solve the mystery of the child who looks so much like her, Effie will finally confront the horrors of her childhood and head back into the trees. This sounds so creepy. Lisa Gardner says it breaks new ground. Richly evocative, simmering with tension, atmospheric. It doesn't specifically say it's a debut, but I kind of feel like it is a debut. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. It just sounds great. And stay tuned. It's also gorgeous. It's also gorgeous. So thank you again, Vicki. This is amazing. So I realized I've probably already shown this book because I did get this a while ago from Berkeley. This is Haven't Killed in Years by Amy K. Green. By the time you guys see this, this book is already out. I also started to read this, which is probably why I haven't finished this, but you know, the brain wants what the brain wants. But this is the one that also is a serial killer, father-daughter situation. So I'm just going to briefly talk about it here, even though for most of you, maybe some of you may have seen this one before. Bear with me. All right. No one is supposed to know harmless office worker Gwen Tanner is the vanished daughter of a serial killer, Abel Haggerty. But a low profile and a new name aren't going to cut it when an obsessive new killer starts targeting her. So her father was arrested for being a serial killer, and she was very young at the time. She was ripped away from her family and kind of grew up bouncing around different foster homes, and now she is, you know, has a new name, has a new life, is trying to just live that life and keep all of her secrets, and somebody, it seems, to has figured out who she is. So when the book opens, she definitely gets a creepy package with an arm in it, and we are off to the races in this one. So this one has really great dark humor. It definitely feels dark and messed up. She needs to figure out who is, you know, bequeathing her these gifts, and, you know, is trying to protect her identity. So she starts to, I mean, I'm only X number of pages in, and already some like deliciously dark and messed up stuff is happening, but I am really enjoying Marin as a character. So Marin is her original name, Gwen is her like rebranded name, and they use both names in the book. So Marin, Gwen, same person. But I'm really into this. I'm really into this. It's definitely a little bit creepy. I definitely have a couple of concerns about reading it at night, but we're just gonna push through. We're gonna push through. And then the last book I have is a book that I bought myself because I did see that this is going to be turned into a Netflix movie, and I thought, well, I don't own this one, so maybe I should read it. It is The Seven Dials Mystery by Agatha Christie. I am intrigued. So I don't even know where or what I was looking up. I was looking up something for my own book that I'm writing, and this book came up. And this was probably like 2 months ago. And I was like, I don't have that one. I'll have to put it on the list. And then it like boomeranged back when I saw it's going to be on Netflix. So I don't know, like that weird, I don't know. You put stuff out there and then there it is. All right. This is about Jerry Wade has proved himself to be a champion sleeper. Love that. So the other house guests decide to play a practical joke on him. 8 alarm clocks were set to go off, one after the other, starting at 6:30 a.m. But when morning arrived, one clock was missing and the prank had backfired, with tragic consequences. For Jimmy Theisger in particular, the words 7 dials were to take on a new and chilling significance. That's all it says. That's kind of all I want to know. I don't know anything about this book. And here we are. I'm going to figure it out. I want to say I had heard something about like secret societies in this, but I don't quite remember. I don't know. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Watch me try and read all the Agatha Christie books. One book at a time. And those are the books. So that is the haul. So it's probably been 3 months. That's not so bad. That's not so shabby. And who am I to turn down a gifted book? So thank you again to all the publishers. Thank you so much to Vicky. And thank you to me for, making a couple of selections for myself. But there you have it. So last book haul of the year. And I'm excited about it. I would like to say I have some space on my shelves for them finally. And when I read them, I will let you guys know, and just check back here. So more unhaul videos are coming because, man, that was a project in and of itself. Like I said, I've got some 2016 auto buys. I have books I've read recently, and we'll see. I need to do a life update also because there's some things going on. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you guys so much for being here. If it's your first time here, hope you will come back. And if you've made it this far, again, thank you guys so much. You're the best. And I will see you in another video. So take care, everybody. Bye.